Quick question. Name one AI built in your country. Not an app that uses AI. An actual brain, trained from zero at home. If you went silent just now, you are not alone. That same silence exists in about 190 countries.
Here is why that silence exists. One chip company, NVIDIA, is now worth about $5 trillion. That is more than everything your country produces in a whole year. And that sentence is true in 193 of the world's 195 countries.
Maybe you think that is only a problem for small countries. It is not. Germany is rich, still silent. India has 1.4 billion people, still silent. South Korea builds the chips themselves, still silent. Different countries, different excuses, exactly one same result.
Because building a frontier AI is not one problem. It is 6 locked gates in a row. Money, power, chips, data, people, and a learning loop. Here is the cruel part. The gates multiply, they do not add. Pass 5 gates, fail 1, and your score is 0.
Gate 1, money. Training GPT-4 cost about $100 million just for the computing. The next generation will cost over $1 billion for a single training run. That is more than the entire yearly research budget of more than 130 countries. Not the AI budget. All research. Everything.
And the companies behind these brains, Anthropic is valued near $1 trillion. OpenAI over $850 billion. Each one is worth more than the whole economy of about 175 countries. These are startups younger than a high school student.
Where does the world's startup money go now? In early 2025, more than half of all venture capital on Earth went to AI. By late 2025, a record 63%. And in just the first 3 months of 2026, AI startups raised $255 billion. Almost all of it landed in the same 2 places.
Gate 2, electric power. The world's data centers already consume 415 terawatt-hours a year. If they were a country, they would be a top 11 electricity user on the entire planet. They already use more power than 184 countries, probably including yours.
And the newest AI campuses are built around 1 gigawatt or more. Run one of those for a year, and it uses more electricity than an entire European country. To even play this game, a nation needs a spare power plant just lying around. Most grids on Earth cannot give that up.
Gate 3, the chips. Every frontier AI chip on Earth follows one thin golden thread, designed in one country, America, printed by machines from one country, the Netherlands, manufactured in one country, Taiwan. One company there makes about 90% of all advanced chips. 192 nations stand outside this thread, watching.
And you cannot simply buy these chips. In 2025, America sorted every nation on Earth into 3 lists. 19 close friends, buy freely. About 150 countries, quotas, and conditions. The rest blocked. The rule changed later that year, but the message did not. Chips at scale are a permission, not a purchase.
But wait, did China's DeepSeek not build a top model for just $6 million? That was the headline. Here is the iceberg. $6 million paid for the final training run, the rented computing only. Below the waterline, about 50,000 GPU chips. Hardware worth an estimated $1.5 billion. And years of elite engineers inside the world's 2nd biggest economy. The cheap miracle was standing on a mountain.
Gate 4, data. AI learns from the internet. And the internet has a favorite language. English fills about 45% of the training web, the language you think in. For most of the world, it is under 2%. An AI can only be as deep as the library it reads.
And here is the twist. Your country's data is not useless. It is being used right now.
news, forums, documents, all crawled and absorbed abroad for free. Then the intelligence comes back as a subscription. Data flows out like water. It returns with a price tag.
Gate 5. People. Your country probably produced a brilliant AI mind. The question is, where do they work today? Nearly 40% of the world's top AI researchers were educated in China, and the #1 employer of them all is America. 2 gravity wells. Everyone else feeds them.
Governments try to buy their people back. It rarely works. Because the researchers are not only choosing salaries, they are choosing mountains of computing, the smartest colleagues alive, and models the public will not see for years. You can match the money. You cannot match the mountain.
Gate 6, the learning loop. ChatGPT now has about 900 million weekly users. That is more people than live in all of Europe. Every question they ask makes the model smarter. Smarter model, more users, more money. More money, more computing. The wheel spins itself. A national model without users is a wheel someone must push by hand.
So most countries take a shortcut called distillation. Teach a small local model using the big model's answers. It works, it is smart, it is cheap, but a student copying answers never passes the teacher. And the teacher writes next year's exam behind a closed door. Distillation buys you a seat in the classroom, never the pen that writes the test.
So let us put it all together. Money times power times chips times data times people times the loop. Germany fails on chips and scale. 0. India fails on chips and capital. 0. The Gulf states fail on people and the loop. 0. Different zeros. Same 0. This is not your country's failure. It is the shape of the game.
So, if not everyone can build a GPT, what can a country be? There is a ladder with 5 rungs, rung 4 frontier makers. Exactly 2 countries. Rung 3 choke point holders. They own 1 irreplaceable piece. About 4, rung 2 sovereign renters. Serious national models on imported chips. Maybe 15. Rung 1 localizers. They adapt open models. Around 50. Rung 0 pure consumers. Everyone else? Over 120 countries.
Now, the fun part. Score your own country. 6 questions 1. Is there one company at home that could write a $10 billion check? 2. Could the power grid absorb a whole new city without blackouts? 3. Could it legally buy 10,000 top GPU chips within a year? Keep your score.
4. Is your language more than 2% of the internet? 5. Do your best AI graduates stay or leave for good? 6. Does any local AI product have 10 million daily users? 6. Yes answers, frontier possible. 4 or 5. You can rent sovereignty. 2 or 3. You can localize. Below that, you consume.
And here is the hardest truth of this whole story. Remember, the gates multiply. A country can answer yes 5 times out of 6, and the final door still does not open. 5 out of 6 is not close. In this game, 5 out of 6 is 0.
But this story does not end in defeat. Look at the Netherlands. It never built a frontier model. It never needed to. It builds the one machine that every chip maker on Earth must buy. One company, one town, and the whole game waits in line there. You do not have to own the whole ladder. Owning one rung that nobody can skip is power.
So, the question was never, why doesn't your country have its own ChatGPT? Almost no country does. Almost no country can. The real question is smaller and much more powerful. Which single rung of this ladder could your country truly own? Chips, power, data, talent, or the machine nobody can skip? Somewhere on that ladder there is an empty rung, and someone watching this will climb onto it.